You'd race home from school, throw your backpack on your bed,
I didn't do that. I was
get
cool
on the computer, sit down,
I just pretended I didn't play. Anyway, back to
We've all had that feeling of not knowing what's over that mountain, what challenge is next, what piece of gear may be the next big upgrade.
The sense of exploration was big,
in a dungeon just so happened to drop.
Like, it was
the
actually
mystery
big.
of what was out there kept you firmly locked in.
Like, I remember, right? I actually remember when I started to play the game, right? And I was here, right? I was in this little cave, this little area here. Okay? And I played, and it probably took me like an hour to get out of this tiny area. Holdridge fucking Valley. When I finally got out of there, I went through this tunnel, and I was like, oh my god, this zone is huge. And then at some point, I zoomed out, and I saw that all of this, right? And I was like, holy shit, I've only seen this zone. Like, the whole zone is huge. Like, the whole world is huge. I'm never going to see all this sort of thing. Like, what are all these different places? This is so cool. Like, now, we've obviously been to basically every place on the map, right? Which is insane. But it was such a sense of awe and wonder right at the start of the game, where there's just so much more than what you first see, even for a while, right? I remember playing in Lockmadan after a couple of days I got to Lockmadan, and I was just like having so much fun. And I ended up going to Alton Towers for my birthday, dude. And I was like, I think we went for 2 days. We stayed a night up there because it's quite far away from me. I was like, the whole time I was just thinking about, wow, bro. I didn't do that. I was cool.
I love Classic, and I want the best version of Classic WoW to be available for the people that want to play it forever.
I want there to be a resource for Blizzard.
I think that it's really, really scary because everyone has this idea of what they want Classic Plus to be, and not everyone has the same idea. And I think it's going to be very, very hard to please everyone. And I think there's definitely a bunch of stuff that a lot of people agree on, but there's definitely stuff that people don't agree on. So I think, and I also don't know if Blizzard is even capable of making Classic Plus. Like, I hope they are, but I think that their Classic team is too small to actually make a good Classic Plus. And I think that they are too, like, clever in a way, instead of like using the resources that they've got to make it as good as possible. They're going to try and like go it alone, and then as a result, they're going to do a bunch of questionable stuff, and people are going to be pissed off and not like it because of that. And I think that would be really a shame, because I think it's a really easy thing to avoid. So.
To be like, okay, look, maybe a ton of people want this or a ton of people don't.
Hey guys, I'm Jordy, and Classic Plus, as of this video's release, hasn't officially been announced yet, but thankfully, it does look like we're gonna get it. Blizzard has dropped hint after hint.
I swear, it's like, it's all but confirmed at this point, right? You run by economics, not by creativity.
That they're working on something big, with the community frothing at the mouth to figure out exactly what that is.
所以暴雪能不能智能起来？现在立刻马上把 Plus 2.0给我端上来！
So yes, we all want it,
My
but
guy.
the question I kept running into as I started thinking about a series about Classic Plus, what exactly is Classic Plus? No, really, I'm asking you, person watching this video. What is Classic Plus to you? Okay, think about your answer because we'll come back to you in a sec, but since this is my YouTube video, stay with me here. When I started asking myself that question, I ended up having many conversations with a very good friend of mine, Only.
Hey, I'm Only. I created the Hardcore All-Stars tournament where Blizzard announced official hardcore servers.
Yeah, I just want to own the server. That's what I want to do.
Nerd!
I met Jordy way back in unofficial hardcore WoW when he killed my priest in Strat UD. Thank you.
Shackle the gargoyle if it gets you.
Yeah,
No way.
the diamonds.
all the way behind this wall. We should LOS all the way behind the wall.
Bro, what are we doing?
I'm netted. Yo, help me get out. I really need help.
Hey, we talking shit.
Healing.
Dude. Look, I still argue.
Nah, Priest killed
that
himself,
wasn't
bro.
my
What is he
fault.
doing? That's crazy
So,
behavior.
Only and I kept talking about what we'd want to see in Classic Plus, but we kept bumping into a few issues. First,
Bro,
why
I
should
love the-
anyone care?
I love that he included the death clip, and it was just absolutely shambolic. Like, god damn, dude.
one person thinks Classic Plus should be. Sure, we've got a bunch of ideas. We've got our non-negotiables and dreams for what this game could be, but we're not.
Oh man, I hope that they include the Emerald Dream. Like the OG Emerald Dream. Did anyone ever watch, what was it? Like, it was like Exploration the movie, or like Nogaholic, one of those. And it had they found that, I don't know how they got there, but they got to the Emerald Dream and it was insane, bro. It looked so sick. I was like, my god, I wish they made this a thing. This would have been a cool BG, to be fair.
Alone in that.
I wanted to be able to flesh out our ideas because talking about things and thinking about things is a good way to figure out what we actually
This
want.
was good, actually.
If they ever do Classic Plus, I would love to see them do it like in the spirit of Classic.
You know what I would like to see in Classic Plus?
Classic Plus.
Classic Plus.
Classic Plus.
Classic Plus.
There's no discussion about Classic Plus. I mean, there is, but like there's no real hub.
And Soda is right. There isn't. Old School RuneScape has this great polling system. Jagex asks the community if they should do some new feature or make some new change, and the community votes on whether or not they want that thing to happen. But Blizzard isn't gonna do that. They're either too proud or too scared to offer up the reins of what Classic Plus might be to the community. But we care a lot
This is
about
what I'm
this
saying,
game,
though.
and
Like, it's gonna be so much better if they not necessarily say, okay, community, tell us what to do, but if they say, hey, community, we're thinking of doing something like this, poke some fucking holes in it for us, then it's going to be infinitely better, right? Just straight away, off the bat. And if it's immediately a dumbass fucking idea, they don't have to waste any time on it.
While the developers have their reasons for doing what they're doing, we wanted to take matters into our own hands and figure that out ourselves.
Because the team is
What
small, they don't want to
we,
waste any time.
As the community, think Classic Plus should be. So, we took the initiative and we made it happen. Introducing the entirely fan-made, with no input from Daddy B whatsoever, WoW Classic Plus, a place where we've gone through everything that we could think of to ask you, Intrepid Adventurer, what you want to see.
So right now, you can head over to the website and start taking
This is
some
such a-
surveys. An intro survey followed by a bunch of smaller
great
ones
project to
covering
actually do.
every aspect of the game we could
I'm happy
think of,
they did
from
this.
zones to PvP to raids and even itemization. Once you're done, you'll be able to see how your answers stacked up with the rest of the community.
And after
the
that,
Prime Optic.
we want to invite you to offer up your big ideas and pitches on the content pages. Now, each of these is built around creating a space for you to give your best ideas up to the community, where people can then vote up or down, and soon enough, the best ideas will be known. Now,
Dude, I swear I should put my, what's it called? My PUBG Battleground, PUBG style background idea on here. I swear that'd be so fucking good if they did that.
Speaking of best ideas, in my previous life, I wrote television. So narrative is super important to me to keep me grounded in the reason I'm doing something. And to me, Classic Plus doesn't really make any sense. Why would the game just change from what it became to what we want to see? And then it hit me. Did you guys know that Doomlord Kazakh is actually the guy who opened the dark portal to Outland that enabled TBC? Now, imagine with me, if you will.
Remember well the sting of defeat at the conclusion of the Third War. I have waited far too long for my revenge.
To be fair, if he gets denied, that is kind of fire, right?
Now, the shadow of the Legion falls over this world. It is only a matter of time until all of your failed creation
Dude, why has this been low-key epic, by the way?
undone. Contempt of the wretch.
Why did no one just like fucking nuke the portal?
Conquer all.
We just need that goblin from ZF with his little C4.
Not again.
Oh shit.
King's honor, friend.
Okay, so that's what I want to see that explains why we're getting Classic Plus, at least narratively.
The Dark Portal is destroyed during Kha'Zix's attempt to open it to Outland, changing the future of Azeroth forever. And right here, we've pitched everything that you just saw on the website. And for subsequent videos, the most upvoted or community favorite ideas that you, yes you, person watching this video, submit could be selected to be fully
Arena, hell yeah,
animated
dude.
into something like you just saw, featured alongside a bunch of other content that people have pitched. And look,
Parallel
maybe you think
universe
this
and
idea
shit. Yeah,
sucks.
man.
Or you're a glorious red shirt guy and can explain in the lore why none of that Kha'Zix idea makes any sense. So, come tell us, up or downvote it. Then head over to the Discord where we built a place to house all of the discussion, and together we can figure this out. And
I just want to see
top it all
arena,
off,
bro.
As you
Or like
interact
at least
with the website, your rank on the Discord
some 1v1
goes up.
arena.
Pretty
Could be
cool.
poggers as well.
Complete the surveys, check out and vote on other people's ideas to help filter out the good ideas from the bad, and maybe even pitch an idea of your own.
And to help get that process started, we've posted all our content ideas that you can react to and use as your starting point. From a whole phase schedule to new talent trees that keep classes unique while removing
Oh my god, I want to
clunkiness.
see the
We'll
talent
talk
tree,
about all
bro.
of that soon, but for now, you
I'm
can
gonna
go to the
shit on the
website
priest
and check
talent
it all
tree,
out.
dude.
Oh, and we translated the entire website to Chinese for them as well. They're gonna be playing this too, and their voice should be heard.
你们这群懒鬼没尝过资方局的铁拳吗？还有那个运营反馈速度 ，Look my eyes，多向煤火学习。
Because let's face it, Classic WoW
Who is
isn't
this guy?
Blizzard's game anymore. It's ours. So let's act like it. Strap in, because we're about to find out what Classic Plus
Wasn't this a 10-minute vid?
really means.
I've been sitting here for half an
Welcome
hour.
to the Classic Plus project.
Haven't we done this before?
Shut up, Crony.
Huh? Me not that kind of orc. What?
Yo, this gate should have been opened a while back, by the way. I never get it. Is that skull like Archimon's skull? Or like, what's the deal with that? Make gnomes puntable. You just right click on them and just go launch. Where's that? Bro, why does this vid on its own have like more work in it than like regular WoW? Crazy, bro. Let's do the survey, boys. Intro survey. Start intro survey. Survey is giga long, by the way. I mean, we'll get started with it. We'll see how we go. I've got about an hour on me. Okay, what faction do I usually play? Horde, Alliance, I switch. Whatever's best. Nah, I switch, bro. I put switch. On the Discord, I had to pick one. What race would you consider your main? Feel free to pick multiple. It's got to be like dwarf. Dwarf undead. Priest. How old are you? 21. How often do you play WoW each week? 40 hours? That's low, bro. Dude, easily 40. What's your experience with the various iterations of WoW? Of vanilla, classic, World of Warcraft, click all apply to fun. Yeah, okay, I got that. Only expansions beyond the vanilla. Wait, can you pick all of them? Private servers. I haven't really played private servers. Relaunch, SOD, classic anniversary. Season of Mastery, I didn't really play. Yeah, but like, does AT count for like one season of Arena? Does that count? 21 years old and played back in 2004. Yeah, man. Yeah, it's a tricky one. It's what it is. It does not count. All right, I'm taking off private server. What do I play? Healer, what region? EU, D player. I might consider the leveler, boys. I can level a bit. I got a bit when it comes to leveling. I'm definitely not a hardcore raider. I'm definitely not a casual raider. Although I do raid sometimes. I might put casual raider. I casually raid sometimes, but like, you know what? I can't. Leveler. I mean, I level. I partake. I don't know if I would class myself as that though. How likely are you to play Classic Plus? I'll play. Would you pay a box fee for Classic Plus? If so, how much? No, if it costs more than just my active subscription, I won't play. Depends on what is shown. Promise 20, 40, 60, no opinion. Okay, so I'm torn on this because, like, let's be honest, I would definitely pay $60 to play Classic Plus, but I also don't want to, like, give Blizzard that idea, you know? Like, I don't want them to just make it to milk us. I think I've got to put 60, bro, just to be fair. On a scale of 1 to 10, how would you feel about Classic Plus if they changed the look via Unreal-esque graphics? So with this one, it's kind of awkward because I feel like if they changed the engine to the Unreal Engine, then it would fuck the movement. Like, can anyone that knows about that stuff tell me? Could they use the same movement engine but improve the graphics? Like, is it possible to do that, or will changing the way that it looks make the movement feel fucked? It would fuck the movement. Okay. I mean, I think that okay, if you want to strip it back, I actually think the only reason that WoW has survived to this day is the movement. That might be a really, like, bad take, but that's my take. I actually think the thing that makes WoW stand head and shoulders above every single other MMO ever is the movement. Modern WoW character movements, models. To be honest, like, I don't care that much about the models. Like, if they said to me, okay, you can have Classic Plus, but only with new models, I'd say, fine, do it. But it's not something that I'm, like, desperate for them to waste time on, right? I think there's more important things that they need to be spending time on than, like, character models, animations, all that stuff. The thing is, this is Unreal Engine-esque graphics, right? So that doesn't mean, like, oh, they're going to use the Unreal Engine for it. They could still use the same engine and improve the graphics, which I don't think is the worst thing, right? I'm not like, oh yeah, if you change the graphics, like, I'm only playing because of the graphics, right? It's more just like I'm concerned that you're going to improve the graphics and the gameplay is going to suffer as a result, right? And I don't want that. I don't think that's worth it. Maybe that's like a 5, dude. I think that's relevant, right? What is the cost of this? Is there a gameplay cost to it? If not, go nuts, you know, 10, fuck it. I think that it would still need to feel like WoW. I think if they did too much to the graphics, it would feel very jarring to go from, like, old WoW to whatever, you know, the new version is. I actually dislike the retail graphics. Like, I think if they said, oh yeah, we're going to do Classic Plus, we're going to use retail graphics, I think that is going almost in the wrong direction, and I would like them to keep the same kind of vibe that we currently have in Classic, you know? I don't think the retail graphics would be appropriate. Maybe I put like a 3. If they could use the existing engine but, like, make it look slightly better, there's nothing wrong with that, I don't think. Modern WoW character models, same thing, right? It's like there's no real downside as long as they don't make them like how the retail ones are, right? I think, like, you want to keep the same models, but it's like improve on them. I think I think this is where it comes to, like, how the characters move and look and stuff. I think that the original models are good. Could they be improved slightly? Yes, but I don't want them to be like it is in retail either, right? So I mean, I think I put 3 for all of these, to be honest. Spell effects as well. I think that again, it's the same thing, right? Where the old spell effects, I think, are better, but there's still room for improvement. I just think that the way that they brought them into retail, they went in the wrong direction, for me, personally. Modern WoW UI, player and target frames, fuck off. Old UI. New UI is a hard no from me. How would you like Blizzard to handle the server rollout? Many servers at launch, some PvP, some PvE, couple RP like vanilla, classic launch with a condensed server list like SOD with consolidation happening over time, 1 mega PvP server, faction balance enforced, and 1 mega PvE server with no faction balance. Only 1 mega server PvP that lets you opt in / opt out from PvP, e.g. save zone sounds. Hell yeah. I think servers are legacy tech. I think that I actually don't think that the way that they've said this, I actually don't agree with. I think the way that they should do it is it needs to be 1 server with layers that you can actively choose, and some of the layers are just PvE layers. And then when you change to a different layer, you get a cooldown. 20 minutes, 30 minutes, whatever. And that way you don't have to have a separate server for PvE and PvP. You can say, okay, my mate's a PvE guy. I'll just hop over to his PvE layer. We can play together, right? Obviously, this stability is important, right? If it's going down all the time, it's not feasible and they can't do this, right? But if they use modern tech, I don't think that should be an issue. So I'd say that's how I would do it, or want it to be done. Because I think the most important thing is to allow people to play together as much as possible. The more you allow people to play together, the more active the game feels, the longer it lasts. If you run into Ironforge and there's no one there because everyone's on fucking different server or whatever, it's also not fun, right? How would you feel if Classic Plus had an element of seasonal servers resetting every couple of years? I'm just trying to think of, like, if you think about how, like, the Diablo ladder is and stuff, right? Like, that's seasonal. And, like, the fresh start is fun, but I think, not SOD, what am I trying to say? PoE does it really well, right? Where every time they have, like, a fresh, it's like, there's new stuff to do. It's not just the same thing over and over and over. Just have one legacy world, previous servers go, seasons go, and one up to date. Yeah, so you have, like, your standard and your ladder, basically. I think that would be cool. Because, obviously, people want to roll on the ladder for competitive reasons. Have some new stuff involved, and then the previous ladder, everyone gets chucked onto the perma one. That could be fun. I like that. I don't think that's included in this question, but that could definitely be interesting. I think maybe depends on a lot of factors is a better answer then. I kind of wish there was like a way to say more about this, because I think a few of these answers are like too black and white. You know what I mean? How would you feel about layers in Classic Plus? Layers are fine. I think layers are needed. I think it's more important to have. There's always gonna be some compromise, right? And so obviously the compromise with layers is you can't see everyone every time, but also the benefit is that you can have everyone on one server where you can play with any of your friends basically whenever you want, right? And I think that actually outweighs the benefits actually outweigh the costs. I don't think there's any perfect solution, but I do think that the way that you just randomly get shoved off a layer sometimes is stupid as hell. So I think that layers, or swapping layers, needs to be a conscious choice, which honestly, let's be honest, with the layer channel, it basically fucking is. They just need to put in the system for it, so that it's just more transparent. And I think that at the same time, while doing that, they could combine the PvP and PvE just by having PvE layers. And I think that would be the best or most elegant possible solution for them. Section 2, in-game systems. Should the size of raids be reduced from 40? Raids at 40, reduce required raid size, but implement flex raiding so we can bring more players and challenge stays the same. Reduced required raid to 20 and allow me to bring more than 20 if I want, like SOD. I actually think the flex idea. I think that I think it's stupid if it's a 20 if it's designed for 20 people and then you can just take 40 and just like this is the most classic thing I've ever seen, right? Like this is how classic players approach PvP, right? It's like a 5v5, so they bring 10 people because they're shit, right? Like this is dumb as hell. So I think the flex is good, right? To maintain the challenge. I think that's important. I don't think you should just be able to outnumber content. I think that's dumb. Should Dungeon Finder be implemented? No, yes, but only to group you. It's still up to you to get to and travel to the dungeon. I think this is a big thing. I think this is like a big part of Classic. I think a lot of the world feeling goes away when you can just teleport to a dungeon. I don't like that at all. Like, yes, it's convenient, but I also think it takes a lot of the world feeling out. And I think you end up having a lot fewer encounters with other players as a result. So I think that having something for convenience in order to find other players is not a bad thing. Because at the end of the day, right? Again, you don't really, I guess, have the OG LFG channel where you're like trying to find someone and then you whisper them out. Like you literally have an add-on for it, right? You have LFG bulletin board. Did you enjoy spending 30 minutes getting to the DM the other day? The thing is, right, the run to DM was almost irrelevant because I'd skipped so much of the rest of the content by getting boosted, right? And so I had to run extra far because I didn't have any flight paths or anything, right? And the world is empty because everyone else is already getting boosted. So you still don't have any actual encounters, any fights, anything on the way, right? So it kind of wasn't really this authentic run to a dungeon because the world is already fucking obliterated, right? By the fact that everyone just gets summoned directly to the dungeon by these paid summons and all this stuff, right? I think I feel less strongly about the TPing directly inside dungeon. Maybe TPing outside of the dungeon to a specific location would be okay. So it cuts your travel time down a bit, but you still actually have the sort of world feel at the start of the dungeon. I think that would be okay. But yeah, should summoning stones outside of dungeon raids? I think that is okay because you basically have that anyway with the mafia summoning you, right? So I think getting rid of that is good. But yeah, I think the main takeaway here is I think that having some sort of LFG finder thing just to create the group is generally a positive thing. And we've got to remember, right? We're not in 2004, right? So we need to take the good things from our 2004 game, and we also need to be careful. What of those 2004, quality of life tools actually make sense today, right? Because you still need people to actually want to play the game, right? So there definitely needs to be some modern tech updates, whatever. I think just choosing what those are and which ones are most appropriate and which ones affect people the most and which ones take away from the spirit of Classic the most. That's the hard part, right? Identifying that. And again, I don't have all the answers to that either. Like, I'm just playing devil's advocate, really. Should there be heroic dungeons? I think heroic dungeons is good. I don't think that heroic dungeons is a bad thing. Like adding some more challenge for extra loot. I think that's good. No, this isn't official. It's fan made. I think heroics. I don't think heroics are a bad thing. I don't know. Like anyone dislike heroics in the chat? And why? The cheap replacement for real new content. So you want new scenery and like actually a new dungeon rather than a harder version of an existing one, is what you're saying. Make a new instance. I mean, I think you're right, but I also think, how feasible is it to just crank out loads and loads and loads of new dungeons with the size of their team, right? There's more cost to that, like designing it, doing the artwork, doing the mobs, you know, doing the layout, all of that stuff, right? Takes a lot more time. So it's not like we just have this infinite capability to have tons and tons of new dungeons. I mean, one guy made MC in a week, sure. But let's also look at the quality of MC as an actual dungeon, right? Like, it was the first raid, everyone was fucking awestruck. But like, if you look at the actual design of it, it's some fucking rocks, right? And some lava. And the bosses are very, very primitive. So it depends on how basic do you want like a new dungeon to be. But like, I agree, I completely agree. It's way more fun to explore something new. Or like, even if it's a heroic version of a dungeon, right? Have some fucking side door open, some new accessible area, just a bigger, more accessible part of a dungeon, right? That'd be so cool, right? That's what I thought SOD was going to be as well. I thought it'd be like these parts of the dungeons that you never really got to explore the first time around. You go down a different door this time because something happens in the dungeon, right? And now you're in a completely different part of the dungeon and doing different bosses and whatnot, right? That's cool as fuck. And if you have that as a heroic mode, then you can kind of piggyback off existing dungeons, but with new stuff. And I think that would be really, really cool. Especially if you did that with old classic dungeons that we already know, right, and love. Someone in Blizzard must feel personally attacked. But no, it's real though. Like, look at what MC is. There's nothing crazy and technical in terms of like the design of it, right? But no, I completely get your point. I think that there is definitely excitement and immersion to doing something new, right? Rather than doing the same thing on heroic. So I think that at the very least, heroic should change the level design maybe in some way. I think that could be very cool, especially if it was existing dungeons. But I don't think that they have the capacity to just crank out loads and loads of new dungeons when there's loads of other stuff to do as well. What about when dungeons have different modifiers? So you're talking more like from a mechanical perspective, like the mechanics of each boss is more difficult and you get rewarded for that sort of thing. I mean, I think that having different mechanics is cool. But I think, at least me personally, I do like the idea of being able to do like another wing of the same dungeon kind of thing. You know, exploring parts of the dungeon that you didn't get to in the first time around that you've always really wondered about, shit like that. I think that is good for immersion. And I think that is a very nice way of not just nodding towards the original classic, but like continuing in the vein of, you know, the feel of it, rather than just creating something completely new, right? Where now it's quite hard to actually recapture the original feel of the game because you're now working off something completely fresh, trying to replicate something that was made in fucking 2004, right? And I think that's really hard. But yeah, I think TLDR, maybe I'll put maybe, depends how they implement them. I think that's more appropriate to our fucking long ass answer. Should there be rated PvE in Classic Plus, Mythic Plus, Mage Tower, Prestige levels, level 60 rating leaderboards? I think that when we were talking earlier about like a kind of ladder, like a seasonal ladder, I think that this kind of plays into that really, really well. So actually, I think yes. I think I think a sense of competition is good for the game. Seasonal gameplay is the meta and has been... Yeah, no, I agree. I think that having something seasonal would be good. And then after the season, sending everyone back to the main pool and having a new season with new stuff, fresh ladder, fresh leaderboard. You know, when there's a leaderboard and it's visible, an in-game leaderboard, yeah. Where you can, like, say you're in flipping Ironforge and there's a big ass fucking leaderboard that you can actually see in the game with people's names on and all sorts of shit. Guild names, whatever. Or guild tab art even. Just all that kind of... There's loads of possibilities for it. Just the fact that it's, like, publicly visible, that you've done really well at something, actually gives you more drive to push and play the game and strive towards that. So I think, yes, I think that's a good thing. Should there be rated PvP in Classic Plus, rated Battlegrounds, arenas, dueling leaderboards? Hell yes. But Battle Royale mode, my guy Steelhog knows, man. Dude, a Battle Royale rated Battleground or just even regular Battleground would be so fucking good. But like an escape from Tarkov, or like Dark and Darker style one, I'd play the hell out of that, man. That'd be so good. Should AoE looting be implemented? I just don't really care. Like, what do we do? Okay, chat. You can vote on this one. Who gives a shit about AoE looting? You miss Plunderstorm? Me too, man. Me too. It's like I you know, it's a nice quality of life thing when you're killing a load of mobs, but I think it depends on the game, right? Like in retail, you like pull 25 mobs while you're questing and you AoE them down, right? In Classic, you're killing like 1, maybe 2 mobs at a time. So there's unless you're doing like some cracked mage boosting stuff, which who knows if that's even going to be a thing, right? Like you don't really need to loot that many mobs at once. So I just don't think it even matters, right? There's like some very rare situations for it, but most of the time I don't think it matters. Like who cares if you're looting 1 mob instead of 2 or 3, you know? I just don't feel strongly about it. I guess no opinion, just quality of life, yeah. But it's I think that if they brought out, think of it like this, right? They bring out Classic Plus, and it's decent, but it has AoE looting. You're not going to be like, man, you know, this Classic Plus is pretty decent, but the AoE looting, I just don't want to play it. You know, it doesn't matter, really, does it? It's not the deal breaker. It's not the thing that's going to make you play the game or not. It's like, okay, it's just some tiny thing that adds up towards it, but I don't know if this is the thing that makes Classic feels how it is. I just don't think it matters. I don't think I don't think this question should be anywhere near any of these other questions, because I just don't think it's on parallel. What features of world buffs would you want to see in Classic Plus? Check all that apply. So I think that I mean, feel free to correct me, chat, but I think that the benefit of world buffs is making people go out and get them, right? Now, at the end of the day, world buffs are a chore, right? Going to get world buffs before your raid are a chore. And let's be honest, if the main part of the game, right, or if a separate game was going and getting world buffs, you would not go and play that game, right? It's not a fun game to do on its own, outside of, you know, you're stronger in the raid, and then the raid is more fun somehow for you, right? Unless you die and then you lose them. Okay, bear with me here. So if this is if going and getting your world buffs is the entire game and there's nothing else, you would never play that game, right? You would never play that game. It would be dog shit. It wouldn't be fun. No one would play it, right? It would be shit. There's no point. So you can just expedite it, right? There's 2 reasons for world buffs basically existing. One is, okay, it makes people go out in the world and do stuff, and then you can fight them, right? And it makes the world feel more full, and there's stuff to do. 2 is there is an element of risk when you go in your raid that you don't want to die and lose your world buffs. So why not, when you go into a raid, for the first time, you have some kind of buff. When you die, you lose that buff. So now you have these world buffs. There is still a risk, but you get them for the first time when you get into that raid, that week, that reset, whatever. If you die, you will lose that. So it's the same sort of feel with regards to, okay, I don't want to die and lose my world buffs. You do get a noticeable power increase as a result of it, but you don't have to waste a load of time going and getting them. And then you have another reason for people to actually go and fight out in the world. Because I don't think world buffs is a good reason for it. People get summoned to fucking die more. The only one that people really could potentially meet you over is Songflower. Half the time it's just people griefing each other, right? And waiting with a load of fucking extra people or whatever, outnumbering you. You have no chance to fight back. It's shit world PvP, right? Let's be honest, it's shit, right? World PvP needs a fucking refresher. This is not the way of doing it. In my opinion, the best way of refreshing world PvP is artificially, because 99 out of 100 times world PvP fights are shit. You're either out-leveled or outnumbered. It's fucking pointless. And that 1 out of 100 fight feels fucking amazing, by the way. When you actually get a balanced fight, you get a close fight with someone of comparable skill, comparable gear, comparable fucking level. It's like a unicorn, bro. It never happens. And when it does happen, it feels fucking awesome. And this is why they need to artificially replicate that. And the way they do that is a fucking battle royale. I'm telling you. You create a fucking Stranglethorn Veil that's an instance version of Stranglethorn Veil that people queue into, either ones, solos, duos, threes, fives, whatever. And you spread them out evenly over the map when they spawn in, and you just let them fucking fight. And now you're going to get actual balanced fights because you have balanced numbers, you have balanced levels, maybe roughly balanced gears versus skill levels. If you make it rated, you definitely will. So you're essentially trying to replicate world PvP, but not the shit world PvP, which is most of it. You're trying to replicate that 1 in 100 fight as much as possible. And yeah, you're going to have unfair fights, right? You're going to be fighting someone and another squad will roll up on you. That's Battle Royale. You got to adapt. So yeah, it's not perfectly fair like Arena. It's not meant to be Arena, right? It's like, like Blood Moon was close, right? Blood Moon was close. Bro's going to be sneaking around and shit. What I thought about it is the longer you stay in stealth, the lower your stealth level gets. So you can't just stay in stealth the whole time because people will just see you in stealth. So you would definitely have to make some adjustments. 100%. Agree. But it's doable, bro. I swear it's doable. And it would be such a fun and refreshing new mode for the game. And we're so fucking desperate for it. What was our newest mode? We got Arena fucking 21 years ago or whatever it is. That was our newest mode. You know, it's been a while. I don't count Raider BGs, don't count Blitz. It's just BGs. If you sign up for a Battle Royale, except that you can get third-partied, whereas you generally don't sign up to get hard ganked by 10 man in the open world. Yeah, this is what I'm saying, bro. Like, 100%. So yeah, I think world buffs, TLDR, we skirted around this a long way, but I think world buffs are not positive for the game. I think that the positives that they bring can be brought in more efficient and better ways. So I say no world buffs ever. Maybe alternative sources of world buffs is a better answer. Bigger version of level 3 Gladiator Sanctum in your garrison from world. Yeah, basically, right? You have that, but over the whole of fucking STV. And when you kill someone, you get fucking buff, you get blood, whatever, and you have to escape through the altars. Same as how Blood Moon was, except the altars are slowly fucking despawning. And if you stay in after the last altar despawns, you just get killed by the big ass troll. And if you die, you lose your blood. And your goal is to escape the fucking BG with blood, so then you could use your blood to buy gear or whatever. Bro, I'd play that. Fuck. That'd be so good. Yo, Creedon! Thank you for the prime, bro. Thank you. How do you feel if Classic Plus trimmed the capabilities of add-ons and weak auras? I think it'd be interesting. I like my UI, don't get me wrong, but I do think it would be interesting. Are they talking like to the same degree that Midnight is? I think that the scary thing with Midnight doing this is there's a lot of bloat to the game, and I believe Classic Plus wouldn't really have that. So I actually think this would be really interesting. I think that there would definitely need to be a few quality of life updates to the base UI, but if they did those, I think this could be really good. Let me keep out of combat quality of life add-ons. I prefer my add-ons and weak auras, leave them alone. I won't play Classic Plus if they remove my ability to use weak auras. Add-ons, don't really care. They thank me, I'd happy. I think maybe that one, bro. Dude, I was there, bro. I played competitive WoW with no add-ons. I went to tournaments with no add-ons. We did it, bro. Been there, done that. Should mount level requirements be lowered? So this kind of depends on the pacing, right? This kind of depends on how fast you're going to actually level. Is it going to be level 60 for Classic Plus? Is Classic Plus going to be level 70? How fast are you going to, on average, get to max level? So I think that's the kind of stuff that is relevant, right? I think in terms of mounts, I think Epic Mount should still just be 60. I think that's fine. I think arguably you could make the level 40 mount level 30. I think level 30 to 40 is a real slog. And generally not that enjoyable. And a lot of people forget that because most people are getting boosted and stuff. So I think they could reduce the mounts, the regular mount to 30, and I think that would be fine. I think keep Epic Mount at 60. I think Flying Mount is a no. I think Flying Mount kills off a lot of the world feel. So I don't like, and it's not so much about PvP, right? I think that the thing that Flying Mounts did, right, is they took away that sense of awe from places that you couldn't reach, and that was very, very apparent at level 60. And if you think about when Kata came out and you could fly in the old world as well, right? You couldn't before that. There was so many things in the old world that you just want to like explore and figure out and try and get to, and you try and be jumping up a fucking wall and doing all sorts of stupid shit to get to different places to explore them and see them for the first time because you've never been there. Stuff like that. And that all goes away when Flying Mounts are in because you can just fly there. And I think that is a big thing with Classic, this sense of exploration and new places that you can't at least immediately get to and just stuff like that. So yeah, no Flying Mounts for me. Should Guild Banks be implemented? I think yes. Honestly, I think that Guild Banks is just a net positive. You basically have that anyway. It's just in a more cumbersome way, right? Where you're just mailing all your fucking stuff to Soda Pop and like who cares, bro? You might as well just have them in. If people are doing the thing anyway, just in a more cumbersome way, just put it in. Like, you might as fucking well. Do Classic Plus have achievements? I don't know. I actually don't feel that strongly about it. None of us sadly can explore any of WoW for the first time anymore. That's the whole thing, right, Sheep Mage? Like, if they brought Classic Plus in, would there be some new stuff to explore? You know, that's going to reinvigorate that fire, you know? Adds to guild immersion, gives a sense of achievement. I think that if you have to have an achievement panel that tells people they've done something special, then you're kind of not providing that sort of dopamine hit in other ways. And I think that there are more authentic ways to provide that, right? It like achievements almost feels like almost like a fucking mobile game in a way, where it's like, hey, click this next thing, do this next thing, go here, do that, press this fucking shiny thing. So I don't think that that is in the spirit of Classic. If you have what we were talking about earlier with where these sort of leaderboards in game for certain things, that's almost like achievement enough. And okay, not everyone is going to get that, but the idea is to strive for it, right? A lot of the time, at least I remember back in the day, you would like watch, like I used to do this with Brood War, and you would watch VODs of like the top players, knowing full well that they were so much fucking better than you, right? And you basically had no chance of ever getting there, but you would watch them anyway because it would like, they would do stuff in the game that you never even knew was possible, and it was just really like impressive and just inspiring and stuff, right? And I think that having something like that makes that more visible in the game, even spectator mode for arenas and stuff, man, like shit like that would be so cool for players that are not playing the game enough or taking it seriously enough to get there themselves, but still want to sort of experience it. So I don't think it needs achievements. I think it needs more visibility for your average Joe to interact and connect with people right at the top. Should reputations be streamlined / made easier to level? I mean, I think this is a very black and white question for a very, very, very broad spectrum, right? There are some fucking hard reps, and there's some that are pretty chill. Oh yeah, it's true as well from chat. Like, I don't like the whole asking for people to link achievements for killing certain bosses and stuff. I think that's dumb. MMOs these days have every single knowledge bit leaked before the patch is live. Yeah, but it doesn't need to be, right? I think that was kind of a goal with SOD as well, right? Where they kind of didn't want to have everyone testing everything before the game went live. By the way, I think it's stupid as shit that you could do that on retail. Like, they have the whole raid to world first thing, and then not only do they fucking start on different days, don't get me started on that, I swear to God, I'm gonna fucking crash out. Not only do they start on different fucking days, but like they've been on the fucking PTR practicing the goddamn fights for God knows how long as well. So like, I don't know, man. Can't be doing with that. I think it should all be fresh. It should all just drop and be fucking unknown. Classic is missing repeatable, rewarding, and challenging PvE content that is not tied to weekly ID. That was probably the reason for hardcore dungeons, achievements, and plus something like that. So people do absolutely. I 100% agree with that, by the way. There needs to be repeatable content that's fun, whether that be something for PvE. This is why we were talking about the battleground earlier, right? The battle royale battleground. It's just more repeatable content that's actually fun, and the doing of the content is actually fun, or you're like trying to compete towards something, right? Rather than you're only doing this because it helps you in some way get stronger, right? Content that's actually repeatable and competitive is absolutely in short supply in Classic. So yeah, I think that's spot on. Should reps be streamlined and made easy to level? I just don't fucking care. Like, some tabard for certain rep, so you can isolate a certain rep that you're focusing on. Maybe. I don't think that some crazy long rep grind is, in this day and age, considered good content, right? Like, having somebody go and farm the Winter Spring Frost Saber for God knows how long, and keeping them on the game for a week or whatever, just doing that over and over, you know, and that's your content. You know, maybe it cut back in 2004. It definitely fucking doesn't now. And I don't think that they need to be reproducing anything like that to make the game feel like Classic. I think that there's plenty of other ways to make the game feel like Classic while providing better and more up-to-date content. So yeah, I think this is pseudo content, I guess we could call it. And there's a lot of that, I think. The content itself should be fun on its own. You shouldn't need a carrot. How do you feel about adding transmog? Ooh, I don't know. What do we think about transmog, chat? Convince me one way or the other. Because so I usually don't really transmog that much, right? I usually pick one and I stick with it, and then I just use it for fucking ages. But there's people that flip-flop around all the time. No Xmogs in arena, you must see what the enemy wears. Classic has no good skins anyway. No TUI, I used to be able to know how geared someone was by looking at them. So I think that's a relevant point. I think being able to look at someone and seeing how strong they likely are is a big part of Classic. I think that having cosmetic rewards is good, but I don't think you should be able to just transmog everything. Maybe only visible to yourself. People also want to show off though, right? Maybe if you want to transmog your whole gear set, that's only visible to yourself. But then you also have some kind of cosmetic rewards that you can use that other people can see. That are also like some more minor, I guess. That would be my take, I think. This is not fucking sufficient, by the way, these answers. And I think that's been the theme out of a lot of this stuff. Like, a lot of these questions are black and white, and the answer just isn't black and white. Have an option to disable it if you don't want to see others using it. Yeah, that'd be a simple solution. Having an option to see just yourself, or just not seeing it at all. I don't care, and no opinion is very fucking the same. True, dude. What about recoloring gear? It's been in some MMOs like Skyrim. So same gear, but different color. What? So like being able to dye the gear. You know what that reminds me of? Gold fucking Brutal Glad set. On, I think it was Hydra 8. That was fucking custom photoshopped set that was. But yeah, I think that having an option to basically turn it off of everyone, or just have it on yourself, or not at all, is a pretty easy solution. That way people can show off if they want. But I do think that there should be some sort of unique aesthetic rewards for certain things. I think that's something that is a little bit lacking, and you know, it's nice to be able to be like, hey, I got fucking rank 1, you want to show off your mount or whatever, you know? So stuff like that is good. Same thing with like doing a raid fast or winning some leaderboard on something or other, right? Just having these show off aesthetic things is cool. How do you feel about adding transmog? I think oh, shit, man. Which one do you even say then? Bros, can we lock in with this Classic Plus survey? Transmog bad, transmog good. No opinion. Transmog bad. Mate, no, like all these answers are fucking bad. I might just put no opinion. Honestly, like, need the people that make this website to watch this vid. I feel like we've been absolutely turreting good alpha here. Should a separated collections inventory be implemented? Toys and mounts. I mean, again, does it really fucking matter? It's just like, doesn't matter. Doesn't. Did Classic Plus allow GDKBs? You want GDKBs? Bring in it. Dude, we need a new loot system based on performance. We need the Hydra system. And basically, we've talked about this before, right? You get a score based on your performance on a fight. Do it with an add-on, you could do it in the actual UI. You have an optimal performance, say healing amount, damage amount, dispels amount, or, you know, doing all the mechanics, avoiding damage, whatever. You have an optimal gameplay, you fucking set with an AI, whatever, right? And then you get a score out of 100 based on how close to that optimal performance that you were. You are only allowed to roll up to that number. If you suck balls and you're Greylog and you're tanking all the fires, you roll 10, unfucking lucky. You could probably still win the loot, but you're much less likely, and this will end the 21 or 2 or whatever year fucking stereotype in World of Warcraft of loot goes to the dog, right? Every single fucking time. I'm crashing out. I don't give a shit. So no, we don't need GDKPs. We need a new fucking loot system. It negatively affects undergear people. No, it doesn't, because the AI sets a fucking DPS amount based on your gear level, right? It scales down. The AI say you've got fucking grey ass gear, right? And the max DPS you can physically do is 100, right? And somebody with epic gear can do max 300 DPS, right? You're still gonna have a percentage of your perfect fucking DPS with your gear, right? So you're gonna get a score. That sounds horrible. Majority of players are dog, and your streamers get all the yeah, but that's the point, right? Streamers shouldn't just get handed fucking loot while passing grey, right? And if the streamer is playing really well and trying really hard and gets to roll a 90, then, you know, it's equally fair with everyone else. You can kind of do it with classic logs, but you're also competing against other people and not what the optimal fucking score is for your spec class, whatever, your role. You know, you can't really do that with healing. A lot of people using lower eye level gear pieces. I mean, you don't just do it from eye level though, right? Like you can literally sim a fight, right? With your gear. There's websites for it where you can put your gear in or your armory profile in or whatever, and it will sim how much DPS you're going to do, right? We live in the day and age where you can just have that. And so the game could literally fucking predict instantly based on your gear, your stats, whatever, what the optimal DPS is for your exact fucking stat amount, right? No, that's just what I mean, right? Like, you think about it first, you think, okay, Warcraft logs, you can compare people to a degree, right? But there's flaws in it, right? 100%, I agree, there's flaws in it. So you don't want people competing against each other. You want people competing against what the ghost car, right? You know when you play a racing game and the ghost car sets a fucking perfect line, right? You have a fucking ghost character, whatever, set a perfect fucking score or DPS amount, avoiding damage, whatever, with your exact gear stats, whatever. And then once you have that, you can score people in every single fight. But I don't think you could make an add-on to do that. Maybe you could, but I don't know. I think it'd have to be part of the game. But I think that's, I don't know, maybe that's more of a retail thing anyway. But I just like, I hate soft resing. I hate fucking... To be honest, the way that loot gets distributed in general in Classic is the big thing that makes me not want to raid in Classic. Absolutely agree for DPS logs, but healing logs can be cheesed so insanely. Yeah, but if you have like the fight that's just happened, right? Then based on that fight, your game can then calculate how you should have played, right? Or how much healing you could have potentially done. So if your whole raid tries to cheese it or whatever, then the score is going to be crazy high, right? And you're also going to be competing basically against yourself. But the other people that can also cheese it are going to be able to, you know, get a way higher score. So it's like, you know, I don't know. I just think it's always an optimal way of playing a fight. And you're never at the optimal way of playing a fight, right? WoW is way too in depth with regards to, like, you could do so many things with every global, right? But it's never going to happen, right? Let's be fair, it's never going to happen, right? This is like dream world, right? Ideal scenario, but I just think it would be the most optimal loot system I can think of. But I just think soft res fucking sucks. I think yes, fuck it, GDKPs. I think that GDKPs is the best incentive driver when you reward people with more cut for how they performed. It's some more raiding, but I mean, again, I don't think GDKP is perfect, but I think that having that sort of incentive and reward structure for people that actually perform is important. This is the thing I hate the most. I hate it when people get reward for sucking. It just leaves a sour taste in the mouth and makes me not want to raid. Did the level cap ever be increased from 70? If they're doing the whole, what's it called, like side universe thing, right, where the dark portal doesn't open, you're still doing that sort of timeline. So they're leveling to 70 in Outland. You're now leveling to 70, just not in Outland, right? So I think, yeah, 70 should be the cap. Like, real talk, I think that 70 could be the new cap. But I think that the whole thing with Titan, right, is relevant. I think that the way that you would gain power leveling from 60 to 70 needs to make it so that, like, the 60 raids and something and stuff are still, like, doable and relevant. So I think that the Titan Asia project is, like, good research for how that really works. But maybe it's not possible. I don't know. Yeah, I mean, you could also have just stay at 60 and then 10 Paragon levels, some extra little talent tree or something. But and this is a thing with the content versus just changing the game. Like, I would be way more open to them adding new content or adjusting quality of life compared to adding in new spells, fucking with talent trees, doing all that sort of stuff. That's really scary because I don't know if they're actually able to adjust the talent trees in a positive way. I just don't know if they have enough experience. Yeah, that's another thing with leveling up. And I think it's not too bad with TBC with regards to numbers, right? The TBC numbers are relatively realistic, but like you look at retail, right, and people are hitting for like millions. That shit's dumb, bro. Like, it's actually dumb. I think that they're very irresponsible. Like, they keep doing level squish and stat squish and stuff on retail. And then by the end of the expansion, they've hammered the fucking eye level buff button, hammered it all expansion long, and they're back to, after one expansion, everyone's back to hitting for 1 million, right? Like, calm the fuck down, stop giving everyone so big upgrades every tier. Like, people don't need to fucking get that big of a fucking improvement every single item, you know? It's like, why are you gonna do a stat squish and then just buff it to fucking oblivion instantly anyway? I feel like they think people have to see the difference in every item. I feel like you do on Classic, though. I don't know if that's, like, cope by me. But I feel like if I get a new item on Classic, like, I'm hard for a week, bro. Like, I tried to get Rejuve Gem, man. Like, real talk. I rolled... What did we have? We had a soft res run in MC... No, it was MC. It was Blackwing Lair, wasn't it? And, fuck, when was this? Phase 3? And I'd rolled top on Rejuve Gem, and then some loser came in like 20 seconds after the end of the roll and rolled higher than me and took it, right? But like, I'd still be hard now if I won that Rejuve Gem, bro. Like, actually. You do not see the difference. I'm going from rank 14 to communal, and I can barely see a damage increase for item. Nah, bro, there's no way, Gary, bro. If I play on my my rank 14 geared Shadow Priest, and I go and play on my dog shit, like, I die in like 2 spells on my shitty one. Like, the dots are hitting literally twice as hard on the rank 14 one. I don't know, I definitely feel it, bro. But I think it's more from a HP perspective. I mean, the damage you notice too, but it's not like retail, right, where you upgrade your gear and you're doing 10x damage. It's literally you go from no gear to rank 14 gear and you're maybe 2xing. I don't know. I'm rambling a lot, to be fair, but I feel like we've had a lot to talk about. I don't know. So, should the level cap ever be increased? I think it'd be interesting. Depends how long after launch. Yeah, that could be interesting as well. Not increasing the level cap instantly, but maybe like slowly doing it over time. You know, with each phase, you can get 1 or 2 more levels. That could be fucking cool. Because you're then also slowly gaining power via extra talents and stuff like that. and you don't instantly phase out all of the early raids or whatever. But, you know, you're, 3-4 phases in, you're kind of done with MC anyway. So the fact that you're now out leveling it, outscaling it because you're like level 66 or whatever, wouldn't really be an issue because you'd either be out gearing it or out leveling it anyway, right? So it's kind of like this player power creep overall. And then you're just obviously releasing the new stuff that's harder, which you could technically do at lower levels as well, right? It would just be more difficult and more challenging. You could release content that is purposely slightly higher and trickier as a result, and then obviously over time, people gain a couple more levels and it becomes more accessible and easier. You get this passive buff, kind of like how what expansion was it? I think was it Wrath, where they like nerfed some of the raids over time, or gave you more damage over time. I can't remember what it was, but it'd be kind of like that. I mean, it's kind of like SOD, but in a less extreme way, right? If it takes you a year and you like once a month you gain an extra level or whatever, max level over the course of a year, and you've released a bunch of other content, I think that could be cool. But I think I'm gonna put depends. Do Classic Plus have new zones? Hell yeah. I think this is really important, actually. I don't think this is even a debate. I think that if Classic Plus doesn't have new zones, it's just, what's the fucking point, right? I think this is so important because you need to recreate that sense of exploration and wonder and figuring out new stuff. So I think absolutely yes. If yes, where in Azeroth or beyond would be okay with you for these new zones to be? Only on the main 2 continents, anywhere on Azeroth. I mean, they talked about the whole Dark Portal not being open, so technically you can't really go to Outland, Dryan, or whatever. So I actually don't think we need to see any of these crazy ones. I actually think you can just have Azeroth. We find a new fucking island. Cool. You could, I mean, they haven't even gone underground, right? There could be some fucking underground shit here as well, right? Pandaria. I'm just not go to Pandaria personally. Fuck that place. Just played Mop, bro. I never want to go back there, dude. Holy hell, that place sucks. But yeah, no, I think they could definitely like. That was actually something that was really cool in what was it? Was it War Within? They had the underground zone. I thought that was really cool. I actually really enjoyed exploring that. As bad as the PvP was in War Within, I've lost interest relatively quickly, but I actually really did enjoy the game when it came out. There is definitely a lot of unused stuff, right? Yeah, you have Grim Batol, you have like Uldum, you have the Furbog place, you have Emerald Dream. What about the zone next to Ghostlands? It was cool. Oh yeah, I mean that's all the Blood Elf stuff up to the north. You have all that. You have the Gilneas area. Yeah, so there's tons of unused like zones and areas and stuff they could do stuff with. And then obviously just new dungeons. Easy to do, right? Old Ironforge. Dude, imagine if Old Ironforge was like a dungeon. Should new content be added for leveling? Quests, low-level zones, dungeons. I think low-level dungeons could be cool. I don't know how much they should be messing with low-level quests. Like, there's probably some that could do with being cleaned up. Unlocking the doors that lead literally nowhere. Yeah, man, like, this is the thing, right? That sense of exploration is such a big part of the original feel of the game, right? That's that unknowing and just trying to figure out go new places, figure out new stuff, right? That was why the game was so like beloved, I swear. I think they could add some new stuff for low levels, but I don't think it should be the main focus. Should leveling be sped up? I think that the leveling pace in TBC is a lot better for 1 to 60. And if you're trying to do like a parallel as Classic Plus, if you're saying, okay, Classic Plus is like a parallel to TBC, then I think the TBC pacing is fine. So something like this. I don't think it needs a massive speed up, but I think that the pacing right now in pre-patch is good. 30 to 40, 40 to 50 is proper slow speed up. Like, yeah, just target specific boring areas. But like you can also do that with this, right? Adding new quests for leveling. Like I can't remember what level it is, but Dustwallow Marsh got a big update in pre-patch. So like if you went there before pre-patch and you go there now, there's a ton more quests there now. And that fills a really big hole in the leveling where there wasn't that many quests. So having stuff like this, where you're adding some new low-level stuff in, this could also expedite leveling, right, naturally. Without actually raw increasing stuff, just putting in more quests in certain areas that you can do at the same time and stuff like that will naturally increase your XP power. So I think sort of increasing everything to the TBC pacing and then adding in some new stuff is going to feel a lot better. You should invest in rested XP, see where the choke points are. I've always said that rested XP should have like a data farming thing where they can basically see, as people progress through their guide, what the average experience per hour is. And that way they can pinpoint then, okay, at each point in the guide, this is the average experience rate that people are netting because all the data gets sent. and then they can say, okay, this part of the guide isn't doing so great, this quest isn't that good, these quests are really good, etc. These levels are slower. Classic is very much about the leveling as much as the endgame. Yeah, so I don't think it should be trivial, right? I don't think everyone should be boosting or being boosted by mages and stuff either, but you also don't want it to be boring, right? So there's a fine line, and also you don't want people to just be doing the same thing again, right? So obviously the classes are going to be a little bit different. People will be excited to test that out, but there needs to be some new stuff for people to do along the way. I think that's important. Incursions was the reason I quit Sword, actually. Should there be more class-specific quests? I don't think it matters. I just don't think it matters. I think the problem with class quests while you're leveling is that a lot of the time it kind of takes you away from a natural route. Go and do something that actually slows your experience per hour down, and that feels bad. In those goopy eyes, buddy. So I think if you're going to do class quests, they need to be like max level. I guess it could be interesting to see, to get like, I guess like the Whirlwind Axe quest is a good one, right, for warriors, where you really do feel the benefit of doing it while you're leveling up, and you feel like really strong for like 10 levels after you do it. So that could be interesting. But I think, like, for example, the shaman ones, right? Shaman ones getting all the totems is a complete ball ache, right? And the warlock one's going and having to do some dumb shit to get your pet. It's long thing, bro. So I think that actually, I don't think, legit, my warlock in OnlyFangs still doesn't have a fell hunter. I'm not even joking. Fucking stop. Getting greater one should just be a caster quest, so you aren't forced into enchanting tailoring at the start of a server. Yeah, agree. Sack your pet every raid, no matter what. So yeah, I think that there should be an option here, like the class quests need a fucking overhaul. I wish there was like a box where you could type stuff in. It's annoying that there's not. Like, there should just be an other, and then you can just suggest something. That'd be way better. Because like a lot of these don't really do the question justice. What's up, He's Mental? When's Scary Game? Maybe next Sunday? Maybe next Saturday. We'll see. Should there be more epic quest lines? Yeah. I actually think the epic quest lines are kind of cool. As long as it's not like a horrible grind. Like, the quest line should be epic because you're doing fun story related stuff, and not you're going and killing 2,000 mobs for fucking whatever thingies, shells or whatever they were. Know what I mean? Which of the following best describes how you'd like to see changes in Classic Plus to old raids? Minimum is needed for any change in player power, but keep the spirit of the original raid. Add more complex, difficult mechanics similar to Mastery. I actually think this one. I don't know if that's like cooked, but my issue with epic quest lines is if you have to go into the same raid over and over again, helping with random drops. I think just RNG stuff in general and like grindy stuff in general makes like the epic quests feel less epic and more like a chore. I think it needs to be, I think an epic quest line should be epic because you're like, it's like a storytelling tool, right? You're essentially going through the steps of a story. There is no need to extend that story via a grind, and I don't think that adds to it. So you can still have a long quest line. Benediction is perfect, guaranteed drop, but it's 50-50. I think that with Benediction, like, they could have made it better. But, like, I think that the quest itself is a good difficulty level. Like, it's not trivial. You know, it feels like you actually achieved something if you managed to do it. And my issue with it overall is the lack of actual story attachment to it, right? It would be nice if there was a little bit more storytelling involved via a couple of other quests, right? Yeah, like, whether that be cutscene, like, in-game guy just chatting shit, just whatever, right? Just more of that to sort of have some sort of immersion into it, and set the scene a little bit better, as opposed to you just rock up and some fucking lass is devastated and feels bad, and then you're like, oh, it's fine, I'll do some good stuff for the ghosts, you know, no worries, and then she's like, oh yeah, here's her stuff, all right, thanks bro, see you later. You know, it's just a bit... should there be new raids? Yes, but only stuff that already exists in original Azeroth, e.g. Kara and Grimbatol. Yes, propose raids that already exist in the world, plus create some new and interesting content. I think this... I'm not against them creating new content in any way, shape, or form. I think that if there's new content in the game, it's more stuff to do. More stuff to figure out, more stuff to try. So, yes. Section 4, the player. Again, don't look at me. Should Classic Plus have new playable races, and if so, which of the following categories would be acceptable? Check all that apply. Any races from future WoW expansions, new playable races that already exist in Azeroth, completely new races never seen in Azeroth, no new races, keep the original 8. Ooh, I actually think like Ogre or something could be fun. Goblin, Gnoll, Ogre. You'd be a Trog, wouldn't you, Zelly, mate? You'd imagine being a fucking Trog. Kobold. Bro, what if you're just some fucking perma-cucked race and it's like you can only level up to 30 and that's it. You're just hard stuck. Just some weak bastards. Fucking Murloc. Dude, that would be fun to be fair. Bro, I swear, like imagine being like a banger level 60 Murloc in like full T3. Candle passive. Yeah, the candle passive is like however many fucking kobolds you've got in the raid. There's like 3 less candles or something. And you have to rob the candles off the other kobolds. And if you have the candle, you do like plus 50% dam. But they can rob it back off you, so you just gotta fucking run away from them all the time. Yeah, there's a good reason I'm not designing this shit, bro. Alliance finally getting Nog. I mean, I think all of these new crazy fucking races could be interesting. Completely new races. Never seen in Azeroth. New playable races that already exist in Azeroth. That would be that. I don't know about any future races. Like, there's some cringe ones for sure, bro. Like, there's ones that people just don't play, like Panda, right? Like, go and look at retail, right? And see how many people are actually playing Panda now. Bro, no one's playing that shit. All right. Should Classic Plus have new classes? I actually think no. Like, real talk. I don't think any of these would be good. I think all these classes were horrendous. Ones we've seen before, no, hell no. Should new race class combos be added? Allow any race to be any class? I think that there needs to be some limitations for it to feel a bit more classic-esque. So... original combinations are iconic, don't trust them, yes, but only stuff within the lore that makes sense. Keeps factions, races feeling unique. Yeah, probably that, to be honest. There's a couple of combos that are just missing, but I don't think you should allow anything. In 2026, anyone could be whatever they want, working the Viator and Rogue. Bro. Yeah, why is there no Human Hunter? That is a weird one. Did the Horde have Paladins and the Alliance have Shamans? I think, yeah, honestly. I think that the limitation is... not the best. I don't know, actually. I think that the problem with having no Horde Palas, no Alliance Shamans is balance, right? Like, that's always going to be the issue. It's so hard to balance. Game is so intricate. It's so hard to balance. So I think probably, yeah, honestly. I think that if you leave it, there's going to be so much extra work that now has to go into trying to achieve that balance. And I think, okay, in an ideal world, we have Paladins on one, Shamans on the other, and perfect balance, right? But it's, you know, what the cost of that is, now we're not going to get other stuff worked on, right? And I would rather see other stuff get developed and have them spend their time on that than fucking about trying to achieve balance because they wanted to leave Horde only having Shamans, Alliance only having Palas, right? So I think in terms of, yeah, logistics... I think, yes. The classes be reworked, new base, abilities and spells, class combinations, etc. No vanilla as distinct fantasies make each class unique. Some quality of life adds, totemic, recall, projection, warlock, summoning gate, combo, point would be nice, but don't fix what ain't broke. Some new spells that modernize ability rotations, GG rep power, just don't completely change. But I think this one, honestly, I think they have to be very careful with this. I think this might actually, out of every single question we've done so far, I think this is the most important one. This one is the one that's going to determine or make or break Classic Plus. If they go too ham with it, and I think they learn this with SOD, right? If they give too much new stuff to every class that overshadows the old kit, then it completely changes the way the game feels to play. And people overall didn't really like that much, right? And it kind of made a big mess. And a lot of the old kits didn't get used, and you basically only used the new stuff, and it was kind of it was bad, right? So it's I think they do need to change and adjust some things. Obviously, some rotations are boring as shit. Spamming Frostbolt, boring, right? So I think that doing some sort of refresher with regard to rotations, adding in small things, adjusting small things in the talent tree for talents that are basically dead, things like that, is worth doing and worth looking into. But again, we don't want to give as many tools to every class as they did in SOD. I think that was too much. And I think that if they do put in new things, it's really, really important that it's cohesive and meshes with the existing kit and not be completely overtuned so that it's replacing and a big band-aid over half the kit. We don't want that, right? So it needs to fit with the existing class and kit. I dig heavy class changes, but tank rogues and shaman healers. Tank rogues and shamans and healer mages are too much. I think tank rogues was kind of mental. I think tank warlocks was kind of mental. And again, with healer mages as well. Like, they just went really far with it. And I think that while interesting, there was more pressing things that they could have improved and fixed and tuned first before going crazy and being like, okay, healer mages, you know? Like, if you look at priest, for an example, right? Like, the priest kit in level 60 is pretty good, right? It's missing a couple of things. You know, it's got a couple of holes, but overall it feels pretty good. And then they just give you penance at level 2 and you just don't fucking press anything else, right? And then you get Void Plague and you basically just press that and nothing. You know, you just got this absurd, overpowered spells. And the spells themselves could have played quite nicely into the kit, but they were just so overtuned that you just never used anything else. So I think that actually getting that right first is more important. If they're going to integrate new spells and adjust talents into the kits, make sure you integrate them into the kits. Don't just slap them fucking in and be like, yeah, that's good. All right, next. All right, healer mages. You know, don't rush it. There's no need. You can make sure that everything works and fits nicely into the classes and keeps them feeling like actually classic classes to play rather than fucking retail V2. And I think that's so important. I think this is literally, this is the most important question we've had so far. It can't be understated how important it is to get this right. If they get this wrong, everything else is in the bin. Nothing else matters. They can make the best fucking content in the world. People will not play it if this is wrong. People are just going to be like, nah, I don't like this. I didn't sign up for Retail V2. Classes are a mess. You know, DBA. What about misses, heartbeat, resist? I mean, that kind of, again, comes under talent trees, right? Like, I would say that is something that you could change in the talent tree. You could say, okay, there's a 15% chance to resist stuns, fears, silences in the priest tree. They did a good change in Wrath, and they changed that to duration. I think that's an easy change they can make. There is no need for that to be resist. They can change that into duration. I'd love prayer mending. I mean, this prayer mending was kind of what I was talking about, whereby prayer mending fills this hole in the priest kit in a really nice way, in a really satisfying way. And I'm just going to say it again. Whoever the priest dev or dev was that came up with prayer mending in the first place, like, they knew their shit, right? They knew what priest was missing, and no one told them, you know, it's easy to say, oh yeah, prayer mending, that fits. No one told them that initially, right? They came up with that, and it's spot on. So whoever made that, they knew their stuff. And this is why I say, I actually think, I don't know if Blizzard has got the knowledge and understanding of each class and how they play to recreate that again. Maybe they have, but I think that's a fucking big W, yeah, back in the day. And Death as well. Absolute banger. Common Death is perfectly filling the niche, the exact niche that Priest really needed filling. So I'd be completely fine with them putting those into Classic Plus. Almost finished survey entry. Bro, I've been talking a lot. Being able to opt into more PvP-based talents with the current talents would fix resistant heartbeats and such. Yeah, I just think there's some talents that are just dead, right? Like improved fade and shit like that. There's just some talents you just never take, no matter what you're doing. And I think that those could easily be adjusted and improved and made into more PvP relative stuff. Or PvE, if the class needs it. I think there's an easy window for that. But yeah, I think Heartbeat going... Heartbeat doesn't necessarily need to go if they don't put in Arena, right? But I think that normalizing CC, having Arena in, Heartbeat gone, being able to remove resists, not having resist talents would all be like... not having resist talents for CC objectively, I guess, is all like solid stuff that overall would be positively received. But yeah, I think that there's plenty of stuff that they could do and try, but this is what it comes back to what I was saying originally, where they really need to suggest things and see how people feel about them. Not only on the whole, but like people that really know their stuff, right? There's people that have played a fuck ton of Classic. They have so much experience, way more than anyone at Blizzard would ever have, because they literally don't have jobs and they play the game all day, every day, right? And Blizzard have obviously got a job and are fucking making the game, right? So there's no way they could ever play as much of anything to do with the game as these players, right? Tap into that resource, use that resource. You don't necessarily have to do exactly what they say, everything they say. People obviously have bias and stuff, but at least get their opinion on stuff, because it's free. It's free, you know. If something is got an issue with it and you can't see it because you haven't played the game for fucking 20 years straight, and somebody that has can see it straight away and is like, well, no, this isn't going to work because of this, why wouldn't you take that info, right? It's free. You're going to save so much time, and the game is just going to be better in the long run. So I think that's the big concern, and I think the big takeaway for Classic Plus we need to see. The following, what is the most important change needed to raid buffs in Classic Plus? You may want to pick multiple, but only pick your biggest concern. Question refers to 1 hour long buffs, not power blessings. We'll ask about raid buffs more later. So, I mean, another thing I wanted to say, like, you can even see from this survey and some of the questions with related to answers. There is not a correct answer for some of the questions, because obviously people want to see different things, but even the people that have made this survey are not experienced enough to know what one of the options should be, right? Like they'll have a question and they'll have the logically easy answers to put, but then there won't be an answer that actually needs to be there that somebody with a lot of experience would likely choose. So even this survey is like falling down in that regard. And don't get me wrong, it's fantastic that they've done this, and I think there's a lot of good that can come from it. Raid buffs should cost less mana. Raid buffs no longer require reagents. Raid buff should be single cast raid. Raid wide raid buff should be combined so multiple classes can buff different things like wrath, no lever. So like the answer isn't even here. This is a perfect example, right? So I actually don't think that they should be raid wide. I mean, I guess I can choose multiple. I think that these two are good. I actually don't think this is that good, because then what's the point? You might as well, if raid buffs a single cast raid wide, right? You go and you buff up before a fight. You have one guy pressing one button, and now they don't. If you don't wipe, you don't press it again for 60 minutes. What the fuck is the point in that? It might as well be an aura, you know? It's just like it takes away the whole feel of actually buffing, right? So I think that the reagents is dumb. I think that the fact that you have to use reagents on certain things, you either sort of double down on it and make the reagents actually harder to get, so that you can do certain buffs, but they actually, you know, you had to go and work for it, do a quest line for it, get a fucking rare drop for it, so that the buff actually is more like a world buff or something, where you've actually invested in that now and buff the raid with something that's not just rotational, or you take it away. But the fact that you can just buy candles off a vendor, like what the fuck is the point in having those? Just a gold sink. We've nearly finished the intro. But yeah, I think costing less mana, like the shadow prop book, yeah, just stuff that is, you know, maybe not every priest is gonna have. So it's like, oh yeah, I've got this, guys, fucking poggers. And everyone's like, oh shit, nice one. Single cast raid wide. If you're gonna have single cast raid wide, you might as well not have anything at all, right? Just fucking, when you're, you know, just have it like palette auras, right? When the priest is in the raid, everyone gets fortitude passively. Why press it at all? You're gonna press it once every 60 minutes. Who gives a shit? Raid buff should be combined so multiple classes can buff different things. I think that's shit. I think that it's nice to have to bring different classes. So yeah, I just said there's those two. Should talent specializations be reworked somewhat, but with a light touch? I mean, I want to see reworks across the board, but I don't want it to be like crazy. So I think I'm going to go for this one. This was the same answer as this one up here, right? Should a fourth new talent specialization be added for classes? No. I think that if you're going to do this, right, you need to wait. And you need to do this, and you need to do this first. These are more important to get right first. It's like when they added a new class in Wrath, right? Like, fix your current classes first. Make sure everything is working nicely. Then you can start adding new stuff and fucking with new stuff, right? It's like your house has got fucking trash everywhere because you're like a degenerate and you haven't fucking cleaned up, and there's fucking bowls and shit everywhere. And then you start doing DIY. And it's like you're trying to wade through the fucking trash to go and put up a shelf. It makes no sense. You fucking clean your shit up first, and then you can make some new stuff if you've got your stuff in order. Should every specialization be competitive in both PvE and PvP? I think that's really hard. Like, in an ideal world, sure, but good fucking luck. It's too hard to balance. There's too many classes, even with like 8 or 9. Not every spec needs to be perfectly raid, PvP viable. Overtuning PvE balance could break PvP and vice versa. So I think that as long as each class has one spec at least that is viable in PvE and one spec at least is viable in PvP, you can look at working with the other ones and see what you can do. But I don't think that you should aim to make everything work in both, because you're just going to end up with everything just being mid. And nothing is it's not going to work. You're never going to take any risks or make anything cool because it could break the other thing. So no, I don't think that is feasible. The best way they can get close to this is by having PvP only changes on specific stuff. And I think that while necessary sometimes, is not optimal and gets messy. And it's just not an elegant solution, right? So I think ideally you focus on a good base and then you go from there. If you try and straight away make everything perfectly balanced and everything, you're just never going to get there. It's an impossible problem. Too many dials. Should dual spec be implemented? I think yes. I think dual spec is very, very good for allowing people to play the game more. I think that there is enough. If I mean, even in regular Classic, but if they're adding in more content and stuff like that, I think that there is enough things to do for people of different content types there where they will need to respec regularly. What about removing the gold to respec? I mean, how much of a gold sink really is it in this day and age? But I think that being able to adjust spec on demand, at least between two, lets you just do more stuff. Like I remember in 2019 Classic, there were so many times that I was like, oh yeah, I kind of want to go and do like some fucking farm, or I want to go and do some PvP, world PvP or whatever. Or like I want to go and do some solo stuff for the lulz. But right now I'm raid spec'd. So fuck it, I just won't bother. 2 is not enough. I mean, arguably you could have 3, right? I think 3 kind of makes sense because you've got 3 specs that you can go, right? 3 talent trees. And you can use that how you will, right? But the fact that you have to have, like, if you're healer spec or whatever, generally you want to have a different spec for PvE and PvP. So that already takes away 2. So I think tri-spec could be based, and it kind of fits with the 3 different trees as well. Should new professions be added? Does anyone care about new professions? I actually don't think it's terrible. What do we need? AC could be okay. I don't think a new profession objectively is risky for the overall sort of fun of the game, right? It's technically more content, more shit to try. I say yeah. I actually think that's fine. The professions be updated to have more end game relevance. Tiny can just whip me in the face with his tail. New recipes. I think it would be nice if, like, I think in general professions could be adjusted for this, but like I've always found that when you're like leveling up and you're getting a type of cloth or whatever, and you actually go to make anything with tailoring with that cloth, the gear always sucks, bro. It's always like 5 levels too low or like 10 levels too low, useless. And anything you want to make that's actually useful requires cloth that you don't have, right? Or like mining stuff that you haven't got to yet because it's too high level, etc., right? Because it spawns in higher level zones. So it always for me felt very like janky and sort of out of alignment with regards to any actual tailoring or mining or whatever blacksmithing gear that you could get, where you would have to go and get that from someone else. You couldn't actually make it for yourself. And I thought that was always kind of sad. Yeah, it just didn't feel rewarding at all for leveling up. And so then leveling the profession up was always more just like a means to an end. And you just ended up selling it, or selling anything that you could, and then never actually really felt that good to make stuff until like 300 or higher levels. So I think that a profession rework could be good, or at least an update, sort of a small adjustment for levels, requirements, stuff like that. I'm not saying put the most OP stuff in ever for leveling, but at least some stuff that you could potentially use, that you could look forward to, you could aim towards. You know, you find a banger pattern from like a dungeon or something, you're like, shit, this is actually good. Like, let me make this. And then you spend the next half an hour or whatever trying to get stuff for it to make it maybe longer, stuff like that, right? It's just like, why not? Why does it have to be worthless? So I think make professions relevant is a fair click here, right? And that doesn't only, I mean, that's not just for endgame. I think having some stuff for endgame is cool too, but we definitely have some things that are. But I think that leveling them up especially could be more interesting. Make the best crafted gear BOP rather than BOE. Yeah, I think having it be BOP is kind of good. Like how it is with True Faith vestments, right? True Faith vestments is a good example. Where the pattern is BOE, but the robe is BOP. And it's actually good for a long time. Alright, okay, submitted. Alright, intro 1 done. Holy hell, we got like flipping 12 more surveys. Cool.